to all of you? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, so let us go back and continue our sessions that we were doing because of the exam postponement and also my personal works. I was not able to take sessions for the past few days. And now we are back again. Welcome to Tej Academy. And in today's class, we are going to discuss leadership qualities and group management. Kindly let me know if my audio is clear and audible to all of you. Is my voice clear and audible for all of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Harshita? I'm not sure how many of you have joined till now, maybe 15. So what we'll do is, shall we start the class then? Others might join in time, and however, the recording will be available with all of you. We'll start the class. Yes. So in today's class, we're going to discuss leadership qualities and group management. Now, this is a revision session on leadership qualities and group management, and we have already discussed in detail about what is leadership qualities, what is group management, and how do they affect and influence the whole teaching learning process that happens in the classroom. So we all know that teachers are leaders. Teachers are leaders where? In the classroom. Okay. And effective group management is key to successful learning. So in today's session, we'll try to understand leadership in an educational context, in a classroom teaching context, not only classroom, in a school context and overall role of a teacher as a leader, and also how these leadership skills are to be developed among learners and promoted among learners in an educational context. And we'll also be discussing about group dynamics, how to master group dynamics, and how to go along with groups. Now, shall we move on to the first slide then?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'll take that as an S. Yes. Okay. So, it's very important to understand that knowledge knowledge for a teacher is very important. We all know that content knowledge is something that is very important for a teacher. But also with content knowledge, it's very much important that the teacher is able to lead the group and manage the group. And that is what truly brings a classroom to life. Okay, when a teacher is able to lead the group and manage the group effectively, then the classroom comes into life. And it also ensures learning happens effectively for all the students. Okay, for example, I don't know how many of you have heard a band, with Republic Day parade, these bands and all go on, right? Have you watched the parades or in your school time also you might have watched the parades and bands? So if you can see that there will be one person will be leading the band and others will be following in rhythm with the person and the movements that the person is making. So it is something like that, but there is much more deeper meaning hidden behind. The purpose is not just to lead the group. There are a lot of other purposes that are there in how to lead the group, why to lead a group, and how we can instill this feeling of leadership and how it can benefit learners is something that is very important. So what is leadership? Leadership talks about inspiring students. As a leader, you will be inspiring students. You will be setting a vision for learners, right? That this is something that we have to achieve. This is something that is our goal that we need to go towards. And fostering growth. A true leader helps their own pupils develop, right? So fostering growth is also a key aspect when it comes to leadership. Then the second one is group management. As a leader, it's your responsibility to create a conducive environment which supports all the learners in the classroom. You, being a leader in the classroom as a teacher, should be disciplined, which is very important. And this is a behavior which will be adopted, imbibed by the students when they observe you in the classroom. Then, as a teacher, as a leader, it's your responsibility to create a harmonious learning environment where everyone is able to participate, put forward their views, discuss, and construct knowledge. Right? Then there is an interconnectedness between the topics of leadership and group management. Strong leadership enhances group management, right? And effective group management supports learning. So, in the RICE exam, they are going to ask you questions with related to group management and leadership, and most of the questions are going to be situation based, where they'll present a particular situation in front of you and they will ask you, what will you do in that place? Or what should a student do in the place? Right? If the questions might be related to group management, problems that are coming among students, or as a leader, how will you lead a particular thing or a task? All those type of questions will be asked in the examination. Any doubt in this slide, or shall we move on to the next one? Yes. Shall we move on to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take that as an yes. Yes. So now let us try to understand teacher leadership, teacher leadership qualities, defining educational leadership. So when we say teacher as a leader, it's not about authority, right? It's not about one person who controls others. So we are not looking at that definition of a leader, but what we are looking at is someone who influences the people who are following them, who guides, provides guidance, and also provides inspiration. Okay, so teacher as a leader talks about providing influence, guidance, and inspiration within the classroom and school context, right? The school community. And what is the purpose? The purpose is to facilitate learning, right? Helping overall development of a learner, that is fostering holistic development and creating a positive educational culture in the classroom as well as in the school. Moving on to the next one, let us look into the traits of a teacher leader. Okay, there are various traits that are given for a teacher leader. Let us look into all these traits. So, first one is visionary. You might have all heard the term visionary, and you might have heard the people who are called visionary. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was known as a visionary. Swami Vivekananda was known as a visionary, right? There are so many people who. So, what is this visionary? They are the people who are able to articulate learning goals and inspire students towards the learning goals or the learning outcomes that you have planned for learners, right? So, you should set a vision and you should make sure that your students are able to reach that particular place. Then, being a role model. A teacher is a role model for students in the class. It is very well known and documented that students imitate the teacher's behavior. Okay. So, demonstrating desirable behaviors in the class is very important. Active listening, patient listening, giving suggestions, practicing mindful techniques is very much important because you are a role model for the students. Then, values. Practicing the socially and culturally expected values, constitutional values, are very important for you as a teacher in the classroom for students. And as a teacher, you should always have and show, not only show, you should always have, you should also have it, and you should showcase the passion for learning, which will highly motivate and inspire students in the classroom. The next one is inspirational. Okay. Motivating students and colleagues through encouragement. It's not only encouragement, it is also positive reinforcement. You will be reinforcing your students or colleagues based on the work that they're doing, providing suggestions, right? Helping them out wherever they're getting stuck. And being a person who can be looked up to is something that is also a role of a teacher, that is being inspirational. Then decisive, right? Decisive. Decisive is a very important skill, and a teacher leader should be decisive. Decisive is able to make sudden decisions and decisions that are made suddenly, but also that are effective. So making informed decisions promptly when needed, right? So they say that that person is decisive. That means the person is able to make quick decisions that are also good. Then accountability. Each leader should always be accountable of whatever work they do, whatever task they take up to, or whatever situation they are in. Taking responsibility for actions and outcomes is something that a teacher should have as a key characteristic. Okay. So, one thing we need to understand is the leadership when we talk about in education setup or in school is very much different from what we see in the corporate setup or the jobs that are there. Their role is just to control them and see that they are doing something. But here it's not only controlling, it is about being an example and having an impact on students' lives rather than just having the position as a teacher in the classroom. Okay. So, for example, if I would have to give an example for teacher as a visionary, setting goals. For example, you have given a project to students on a particular topic. Now you are setting goals for them, like this should how the project should come. This is what we should achieve. It should be functional in this way. Should be able to help society in so and so way. All these things are example. Any doubt here, or shall we move on to the next one? I request whoever is annotating the screen to not annotate. Yes. Shall we move on to the next slide? Any doubts here? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Yes. Now let us look into, yeah, what are the core competencies of leadership qualities? Okay, let us look into the core competencies. And the first one is communication skills. It is very important to have communication skills. It is a very important thing to be an effective leader in the particular setup that you are in. So in communication skills, there are a lot of things that come in, right? There is clarity. Clarity, giving clear instructions and explanations when required. When you talk, there should be clarity. There should not be confusion, right? Whatever you speak should not be ambiguous. So there should be clarity when you speak or when you explain something, when you give instructions in the classroom for performing an activity or a group discussion. So first important thing is clarity as a core competency of leadership qualities. So we are discussing communication skills. In communication skills, clarity is very important whenever you speak or give instructions or you explain. Second thing, which is very important, is active listening. Most of the times what we do is we are eager to talk. We are eager to put forward a point. We are eager to, tell what is there in our head. Sometimes we also make statements that wait. I will forget what I'm thinking if you will not give me time to speak. And most of the time you forget also. But this is a skill that is very important and it is something that you need to develop as a teacher, that is active listening. Listen to your students when they speak, collect their responses, understand them when they speak. And when you are actively listening to what students are speaking, you'll be able to understand how that child thinks. You'll take multiple perspectives from students, which is very important for a teacher to know how a child thinks, right? By active listening, you will be able to address their concerns. You might have come across questions, situation-based questions in the PYQs, where they're trying to ask you that there is a conflict between two students, then how will you go and resolve it, or what should you do in that situation, right? So active listening will help you understand students' concerns effectively so that you'll be able to give desirable help to the learners. And also, you'll be able to develop questions, ask proper questions when you are actively listening to them. The next one is feedback. Very important core competency under communication skill, that is giving feedback, providing constructive feedback. Constructive feedback means something that will help you, right? Something that will help a learner construct or improve upon what they have been lacking. So providing constructive feedback and also encouraging feedback. Encouraging feedback is more related to motivation, saying that you can do it. These are very small things where you need to improve yourself, right? And if you are able to, overcome this, overpower, have a control over this, you'll be able to perform better, right? So feedback is also one of the core competencies under communication skills for leadership qualities. And then moving on to the next one, that is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is something that teachers use in class through and through, right? Your body language, your eye contact with students, the tone of your voice in which you talk to learners is very important. You might have seen that some teachers control the class with their eyes. They don't even speak. They'll just be looking around and the class will be silent. So here we're not talking about controlling the class in an authoritative way, but able to, maintain a proper body language, appropriate body language. Let it be when you're explaining, when you're talking to students, right? When you're giving eye contact. Or remember, as a teacher, it is very important for you to maintain proper eye contact in the class when you speak. There are some people who always look at the wall when they talk or somewhere else. They have hard time to look at the other person's face when they talk to them. But it's very important for you to develop a habit of making eye contact throughout the class when you're speaking. That will ensure that students are listening to you because you are able to see if they are looking at you or not. And second thing, when you're making eye contact, the student is also conscious that yes, I have to listen to the person. Okay. So these are all the essential leadership qualities among communication skills. Moving on to the next one, let us look into problem solving and decision making. There are a lot of situations where you might come across a problem in a school as a teacher. There might be problems among students, problem with the teachers and students, problem among teachers, or problem among teachers and parents, or parents and parents, or parents and learners also. So many situations are there where you can come across different problems. And if you remember the PYQs that are asked in the examination, they are also targeting on or focusing on problem solving and decision making. What decision will you make as a teacher if you come across a certain situation, right? How will you try to solve a problem if you're coming across a particular situation? So these type of questions are also asked. So what should we do in such situations? The first one is adaptability. Adjust plans based on emergent situations to ensure flexibility. So if you are having a particular sudden plan or something that has to be done, or a situation has come up where there is a problem among learners in the class and you want to solve it at that moment, but you have some other work also. So you have to on spot think about what can be done. How can that issue be, that task be, kept at hold for some period of time so that you'll be able to address the situation which is more important and emerging at hand. Okay, so adaptability is very important and you should also be flexible. You should know what is your plan. You should know what is your schedule. You should be very clear with what are you going to do. Your whole day plan should be ready so that you'll be able to make adjustments based on emergent situations that need, emergent situations that need urgent addressing. Okay, then solution oriented. When you're giving suggestions, right, when you're taking a decision to solve a particular problem, you have to develop practical and effective strategies to address the problem. Being more idealistic or being more flamboyant in trying to address these problems is not going to help. The solutions need to be pragmatic. Pragmatic means something that will work, something that is more practical and will be able to effectively address the problem that is at hand. So you should use such strategies while trying to address problems. So you should be solution oriented. And one more important thing is analytical thinking. Focus on identifying root cause of the issue to develop targeted solutions. Most of the times what teachers do is they'll not try to understand what is the actual problem. They will make a decision based on what they're seeing, right? How many of you have experienced this in school? I'll just give you a situation, okay? This might have happened or in your classroom, you might have observed it. Not all of you, but most of you, almost all of you. For example, teacher is not there in the class. There is a particular classroom where teacher is not there, students are sitting in the class. Suddenly, two students start fighting, okay? The person who has done a mistake might be someone else. The person who was simply sitting might be the other student. Two students have started fighting. Okay, and the teacher suddenly enters the class. Now, teacher will suddenly look at the students who are fighting. Now the student who is the aggressor there, who might be, beating the other boy, or might be shouting or scolding, whatever it is, whatever the situation may be, the teacher will quickly take a step and try to address the problem. Olden days, what they used to do, they used to just beat up the student who is doing the aggressor. But who knows, he was trying to defend himself or herself. Have you come across such situations in your school?
Yes,
Gandharbani says yes. What about others? Have you come across a situation in your school? The teacher, without trying to understand the whole problem, will take quick decision and try to scold or beat the students. Beating is something that is not allowed now, but it happens in some schools even now. Yes. Only Rajata and Sanidhi have seen such situations or come across some such situations in school. What about others? Would anyone like to narrate any scenario that you have come across in your school? If you're interested, otherwise we'll move ahead. I'll not waste your time. Yes? Anyone interested to narrate any such situation? Okay. We'll not waste time. I hope you understood this slide. We'll move on to the next one. Yes. The next one is empathy and emotional intelligence. This is also a very important core competency which you should have as leadership qualities. Okay. The first one is understanding student needs. As we always have talked about, that every child in your classroom is unique and every child's needs are different. Every student in your class, their needs are different. So it's your role to recognize individual differences, identify the individual differences in class. Not only the individual differences, also the emotional states of students. It's very clear that once you look at the student's face, you'll be able to understand that this child is happy or this child is sad, this child is tensed. Even at this present moment, I think as you all have become 18 or almost are going to become 18, you are at this stage, you are also able to easily identify the state or the mood in which a person is based on their facial expression. Yes or no? You do this with your friends always. You will say them that you're not happy or something has happened. Tell me what has happened. So based on their facial expression itself, you're able to tell that what they are feeling. Are you all able to do that? Or have you observed others doing that? Okay. And the present generation is even, further. Based on the type of message that has been typed, they're able to identify the mood in which their friends are, right? Just by the message, they're able to say, okay, you're not in a good mood or something wrong has happened. I don't know how you people do that, but I've heard that many people are, and I have gotten messages from my friends like that, that, okay, you're not in a good mood. I'm like, how do you know? So yes, that is that. So empathy and emotional intelligence, understanding the student's needs. Very important to understand not only the emotional needs, their individual differences should be identified, and their emotional needs or states also should be identified by the teacher. If you're able to identify that they are in a particular emotional state, you'll be able to act accordingly and give support to the learners, which is very important. Then, managing emotions, helping students understand how to stay calm under pressure and handle conflicts constructively. This is only possible if you are able to stay calm under pressure. And if you're able to handle conflicts constructively, you'll be able to help them manage their emotions. Okay. Then very important is building rapport. Building rapport with is very important. Establishing positive teacher relationship. There should be a strong student teacher relationship where they're able to discuss, laugh out, share problems, share jokes, discuss important issues, discuss topics. All these things should be there. So it's very important for you as a teacher leader to build rapport with the students. So remember that as we have discussed communication skills, problem solving and decision making, and also empathy and emotional intelligence, let me tell you that these all are teachable skills and developable skills. So you can help students develop these skills, the skills of communication, problem solving, and decision making, empathy, and emotional intelligence, right? Okay. The questions that are going to be asked are going to be based on classroom scenario, school scenario, and how you as a teacher are going to address the problem and solve the problem. Any doubt regarding this slide, or shall we move on to the next one? Any doubt? Okay, your silence says it. No. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Next one is the leadership qualities. Okay, so leadership qualities. How will you foster, or how will you help students develop these leadership qualities? Okay, we have till now we have talked a lot about how teachers are leaders, or how teachers as leaders. But it is very important not only to have these qualities, but also to develop these qualities among learners. So, how can we develop leadership qualities among learners? First one is giving responsibility, assigning roles to the students, and not only assigning roles, but also giving them full freedom to execute those roles, which will help them build confidence. Okay. Then, the roles that I was talking about, you can make them group leaders, classroom helpers, right? All these roles can be assigned to the learners. Then, autonomy, fostering autonomy. Autonomy means giving them freedom. That was what I was talking about, giving students freedom, encouraging self-direction and critical thinking among learners. Ask them to come up with a proper solution before. If they are not able to come up with a solution, you go and help them. Brainstorm them with ideas that they can, come up with, and how they can address a particular situation that is at hand. So that is fostering autonomy. Then building confidence. So trusting students with tasks. Sometimes what happens is some teachers give tasks to students, but then they'll not trust students with those tasks. They'll always come and look or intervene and say that this is not to be done like this, you should do it like this. So this constant intervention will make students not own the task that they're doing. So you should encourage them and give them autonomy, motivate them to do the task. So trusting students with the tasks and decisions making. So allow students to make decisions, take important decisions wherever appropriate, not all decisions, wherever appropriate in group tasks, right? Or in a particular situation where they are having a particular role as a leader, then allowing them to make decisions wherever appropriate. This will help them gain confidence and understand what is the right decision and what is not more appropriate. Then conflict resolutions, mediating disputes. You can give scenario-based, situation-based questions, asking students that this is something that is happening, and two students are in, or three, or this group of students are in such situation. How will you try to help those students? What is the most appropriate step to take, or what is the most appropriate task to do? All these situation-based scenarios can be discussed, and students can be asked to give their perspective, their ideas, and how would they address the situation. And such exercises will help students understand conflict resolution and how to go ahead with trying to tackle a problem. Yes, and you should also ensure that fairness is something that is practiced in these processes. Now let us come to the next one, that is classroom management. We have finished leadership. Let us come to classroom management. Before going, understand this pyramid, let us define classroom management. So what is classroom management? The processes and strategies used by a teacher to organize and maintain a classroom environment conducive for learning and positive social interaction. So classroom management, for group management is able to develop processes and strategies as a teacher to organize and maintain classroom environment for social interaction. So what is importance of this? It maximizes instructional time. Okay, you'll get more time to instruct students and for them to discuss. It reduces disruptions in the classroom and fosters a self of safety and belonging. The main purpose of group management or group tasks, not group management, the main purpose of group tasks is to promote student engagement and enhance the learning outcome. Yes, sir. Madam, start, yes. Okay. Yes. So let us look into this classroom management pyramid. So the first one is physical environment. What does physical environment talk about? It talks about organizing the classroom layout for optimal flow and minimizing distractions. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So let us look, we talk about physical environment of a classroom. So when you are setting up a classroom to teach, you might have seen some classrooms where the benches are not in the traditional way. They're always organized in circles where group tasks are given. Even here at our institute at RI Mysuru, we do a lot of group work. And before we start the class, we request students to arrange the benches in group state, maybe in circular way or in the way where students can face each other and discuss. And then we give them instructions and we give them group tasks where they develop, work on a particular problem, and then they prepare a write-up, and then they come and explain what they have discussed and developed, and then a discussion takes place, right? Which is very important, and it helps students to understand things better. So physical environment talks about preparing a classroom layout in such a way that it will help, in maximum discussion that can take place in the classroom, and it will minimize distraction among learners. The next one is positive relationships. So building rapport with students individually and also building rapport with groups. So as a teacher, you should develop positive relationship with learners. Please remember that it should not be with the group leader only. So when a group discussion is taking place where 3, 4 to 5 students are sitting together and discussing on a topic, you should enter the group as one of the participant. Give your ideas, listen to their ideas, what they are discussing, what they're talking about, and be a part, share ideas, help them scaffold, and then leave. Okay, so this can only happen if you're able to develop positive relationships and build strong rapport with students and the whole group. Then the next one is engaging lessons. It's very important to develop engaging and instructing lesson, interesting lessons. I would like to ask you, is there a lot of background noise here in my audio?
No, sir.
Manogna?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm muted. Yeah, is there background noise? Okay, I hope there is no. All the staff are leaving, so there is some noise there. I think it is gone now. Yes. So I was talking about engaging lessons. So a well-planned lesson plan, a well-planned lesson, which will, which is taking care of most of the students or almost all of the students, which has relevant content, will automatically minimize boredom and disruption in the classroom. So it's very important to plan a very good lesson. And when you're able to plan a very good lesson, it will automatically minimize boredom and disruptions in the class, because students will be actively engaged in the whole process, that they will never get time to think about something else or do something else. Then routines and procedures. As I have talked in previous presentations also, make a predictable daily schedule for smooth transitions, for smooth teaching and doing other tasks and activities that you're planned in the classroom. Then clear expectations and rules. Very important as a teacher, establishing and consistently reinforcing classroom norms. What is expected from students after a group activity? What are the rules you should follow as a group? Right? How should you write things? How should you discuss? How should you plan things? Which is very important. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, I'm sorry for that. So you should set clear expectations and rules for learners. Can it out in this slide, or shall we move on to the next one? Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. Yes, let us look into reactive strategies. So when there is group work, there is always going to be some level of disagreement. There is always going to be some level of misunderstanding, and there is always going to be some level of argument that can happen within groups and among groups, which happens everywhere. So these are some issues that a teacher should know. Not only know that such issues exist, the teacher should also know how to address these issues and how to not let these issues form in the first place or let these issues develop in the first place. So there are something called as corrective strategies, and that are the interventions that you need to take undertake in order to make sure that a smooth group activity takes place. And there are techniques for positive group dynamics. Let us discuss both. Coming to the corrective strategies. In corrective strategies, the first one is non-verbal cues. For example, students are having group work where they are discussing in group, but they are rather than discussing, they are doing something else, or they are making noise and disturbing others. So non-verbal cues can be used. For example, making eye contact, looking at the students and making eye contact and letting them know that this is something that you're not appreciative of. Then proximity control. Proximity control means going closer to the students and just standing and observing what they're doing, asking them questions regarding if you need help or what is the progress that you have made, what is going on. So this will make them more aware. This will make them, go back to the work and try to do. Then gestures. Usage of appropriate gestures is also something that can be used to control groups. And there is something like verbal cues that can be used. So you can have private conversations with the students who are, not participating appropriately, causing disruptions. So you can have private conversations. You can just call that student from the group and try to ask him or her what is the problem. Is there any issue that you're having? You're not well, or you're not able to understand what is being. Private conversations with the students and reinforcing them, giving them gentle reminders and making I statements. For example, if you tell the students that if I was undergoing the same problem, I would have done this. I would try to participate like this. I would put forward my points like this. So I statements will help them, say that the teacher is empathizing with me and trying to understand the trouble that I'm having and giving me appropriate strategies that I can use and try to implement them in the group class that is given to me. Okay. Then the next one is logical consequences. Logical consequences talks about linking behavior to natural or imposed outcomes. For example, you have to talk to students that if you're not doing your given task in a given time. And if there is a deadline that is coming up, you will have to lose your sleep. You might have to skip your games period and other periods to complete the task, right? And that will have a consequence. That is, you lose your games period or your free period or your sleep for to some extent because you have not been able to do the task in time. Or when there was an assigned period for you to discuss, you are not discussing and doing something else. So informing students about the logical consequences that might come because of disruptive behaviors is something that should be informed to the students in prayer. Then redirection, shifting students' focus from disruptive behavior to the task at hand. Redirection can be done through different strategies, and we have discussed a few above itself. Then, timeout or cool down spots. If there is something very extensive happening, you can provide a temporary space for learners to regain self control, right? Or to calm down, cool down, and then come back. For example, there's a heated argument going on among students, and some students sometimes get overwhelmed with these decisions or too aggressive they are. So you can just help them to cool down, and this is one strategy that can be used. Then behavior contracts. These are nothing but these are very interesting things. Formal agreements of for students with persistent behavioral issues. So making some type of formal agreement with the students that if you are able to behave well and do this, we'll do other things or we'll have a discussion, we'll have a conversation or something like that, where you're able to give positive reinforcement to the students that if you are able to practice appropriate behavior, then you will be rewarded. Okay. Yes. Then let us look into group dynamics, positive group dynamics. The first one is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is something that is where you are praising the students. Good, very good, excellent work. So praising desirable behaviors, not everything. Whatever the students are doing, you're just praising them irrespective of it is appropriate or non-appropriate. Not like that. Praising desirable behaviors with appropriate feedback. This is positive reinforcement. And also by acknowledging their effort that is being put, that is being acknowledged. So positive reinforcement is the first technique. Second is group rewards. That is giving some incentive for the collective positive behavior that the students have shown. Right? That can be verbal, reinforcement or some small token of appreciation that you're giving to students. Then using of cooperative learning strategies where students will learn, work on their own. They will assign tasks to themselves and do it together. You will only provide support. For example, there are different strategies that exist. For example, like jigsaw is there, think, pair, share is there, round robin is there. So there are multiple techniques that exist for cooperative learning. Then peer mediation, training students to resolve conflict among themselves. We were talking about this in the previous slides also, where you are helping students develop the qualities where they're able to solve conflicts that arise among themselves, which is very important. Then peer class meetings, providing a forum for students to discuss issues and contribute to solutions. You can conduct class meetings in the classroom where students are putting forward their view problems that are there, that are coming ahead with the group work, and then other students can try to give solutions to what their problems are, how to address these problems, and how to go ahead with trying to solve it. So these are the techniques for positive group dynamics. Then let us look into the strategies for diverse group management. We know that the group, whatever groups we make, they're not similar. Students are at different level, they come from different background, and there are so many differences that exist among learners, right? So what are the strategies for this diverse group management? How to manage the diverse groups? First thing is age appropriateness. So management strategies vary significantly across the age groups. Now, as per NEP 2020, if you are applying for the NCET exam, sorry, NECT exam, the NECT exam, and once you have qualified the exam, when you're trying to opt a course, they are going to give you B.Sc.B.Ed foundational, B.Sc.B.Ed preparatory, B.Sc.B.Ed secondary. Okay, sorry, middle, B.Sc.B.Ed middle. So, based on the stages, they are dividing the B.Sc.B.Ed course. For you people, it might not be the case. You will be entering RI Mysuru as for the secondary stage, sorry, the middle stage, middle and secondary, first two stages of secondary. But in the coming years, the courses are going to be specialized based on the uh, stages. Okay. So when you're planning strategies to manage a group, these strategies will be planned according to the age. Okay, so the rules that you set for primary students may differ from secondary students. So for primary students, you might set clear rules. But for secondary students, you might have a discussion with the students and decide what should be the rules. That cannot be done for primary students. Okay, so age appropriateness. Second one is learning styles and needs. All different students have different learning styles, different students have different needs. We talked about learning styles previously also, auditory, visual and kinesthetic, all these things we have discussed. So some students require more structure, visual cues, sensory inputs compared to others. So the strategy that you're planning, the way you're managing and giving group activity should be able to cover all the learning styles and needs of the learners. Then socio-emotional needs. Socio-emotional needs also differ from learners to learners. So we should always try to understand the students' backgrounds. Okay. And you should have an awareness of their mental health, which is very much important. Then cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity is respecting diverse cultures, norms, and communication styles that exist among learners. Okay. That is, and then CWS and children with special needs. There you have to, if there are children with special needs in your classroom, you should prepare, if you're preparing lesson plan, in that you have to also prepare an individualized lesson plans for the learners. Specialized supports should be planned and positive behavior support plans can also be planned for students with special needs. Okay. Then Let us look into the foundations of effective leadership. The last thing, let us look into the foundations of effective leadership. That is leaders' vision and rules. You should always be clear with what is your vision as a teacher leader. And you should always have set rules which you should follow as a leader. And a clear vision from teacher leader translates into well-defined group expectations, which is very important. Then empathy and positive environment. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Then there is something called as empathy and positive environment. You should be empathetic, and you should also, as a leader, you should be empathetic, and you should also foster classroom environment where students feel safe, students feel valued, and groups are adhering to the norms or standards that you are setting. Okay. Then leaders communication and clarity. It's very important for you to have clear communication, and you should be able, when you're able to communicate very clearly, when you're able to articulate your plans very clearly, misunderstanding automatically reduces, doubts automatically reduces, and it also improves the quality of group management that takes place in the group. Very clearly adheres, follows the rules and norms that you have set for the group. Then leaders empowerment and self-discipline. When students are empowered, that means students are made leaders. They develop self-management skills. As a leader, they should be able, they should need these self-management skills. So you should empower students, put them in a position where they have to take the responsibility, they have to make the decisions, they have to, look into what others are doing, not authoritatively, but constructively, which is very important. And leader as a problem solver, effectively addressing group challenges, reinforcing the leader's authority and ability to manage the conflicts or problems that are there. Okay, so here we have discussed two main concepts. How strong leadership qualities directly contribute to effective group management, right? Strong leadership qualities and effective group management. So if you are an effective leader and if you have effective leadership qualities, you are automatically able to manage a group better and effectively manage a group. That's why these both topics are put together. Okay, leadership and group management. Okay, so we have completed today's session on leadership and group management. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or we'll end the session. Any doubts? Okay, I hope this session was helpful to all of you. If you have any doubts, please reach out to us and ask your doubts in the WhatsApp group. Remember that you have only 12 days further. I don't think the exam is going to postpone any further. So prepare well and make use of the time that you have. Because of the postponed of the exam, I know most of you might have rested a little bit, but it's important for you to get back to what you are doing. And any help, please reach out to Tej Academy, and your all the needs will be met. Thank you so much. Okay, Pariksha is asking about assessment in classroom. So you want me to take a special session on assessment, Pariksha? Okay, okay. I'll discuss with the heads, and I'll let you know, and this will be informed to you accordingly. Okay. Yes, Priyanka, you want to say something? Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking that, Pariksha. Priyanka, any doubt? Okay, so I hope this session was fruitful to all of you. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.